Hello and welcome back to Young at Heart. We had a couple of great interviews, and one of our services is actually to help us get to know some of our political candidates. So we are coming up with an interview from Rhonda, who will be interviewing James Oscarson.
Hello and welcome to Young at Heart. I'm Rhonda Van Winkle and I'm here with our guest today, James Oscarson, who is running for Assemblyman District 36. How are you doing, James?
I'm doing great, Rhonda. I appreciate you having me here and look forward to visiting with you.
Well, I'm so glad that you came here today. Why don't you tell Pahrump a little bit about yourself so we know something about James, the person?
Well, my wife and I moved here about 6 years ago. My wife, as a lot of you know, works for Valley Electric. And their
She's
marketing
adorable.
Department, and thank you
Love
very much.
Rebecca.
She's a great asset to our family first off, and then to our community. We have 3 children that are scattered throughout the state. Actually, 2 of them live here in Pahrump. One of them lives up in the Reno area and has just recently moved to Winnemucca. So they're all over the state, and our 6 grandchildren live here in the state as well. Very proud of that, and I think that makes us very vested in the community, and vested in the state and what goes on here. When I moved here 6 years ago, we had some great opportunities, met some great people. Were able to get involved again, Rebecca with the power company and myself with the hospital, and we've been able to establish great relationships and great friends, and probably have made the best friends we've ever had here in Pahrump. Prior to that, we lived for 20 years in Las Vegas, where we both had jobs there in those communities. I was a pharmaceutical rep and was in the nursing field, and Rebecca worked for Southwest Gas there. And then we moved to Logandale for 4 years, which is uniquely a part of this district, this Assembly District 36, since it was redistricted. So we're very fortunate to be able to go back there and visit with friends and have great relationships there with folks, and have really enjoyed that, reestablishing those that camaraderie with the folks there. There's Logandale and Moapa Valley are just great places to be and raise children, much like Pahrump is. It's a little smaller than Pahrump is, but it's a great place. I, of course, work for the hospital as the marketing director and as the ombudsman for the hospital. So when people have concerns, they bring them to me. We sit down, talk about them, what they are, and 99% of the time it's communication kinds of things that we're able to resolve and get a resolution to whatever their concerns have been. So that's enabled me really to be able to visit with a large number of the folks in the community. I was president of the state licensing board, the State Board of Podiatry, for 3 years. It was a 5-member board, and I was the consumer member, and the physicians elected me president of the board. I guess they said, there's a guppy, we'll get him in there, and we let him do it. So we had some great opportunities, and that's really where I got my first taste of being able to be before the legislature, because I had to testify quite a bit. We had some bills and things that we wanted to bring forth to them, and I felt like I really wanted there to be a connection between the legislature and the people that are represented by it. And it's a very intimidating process to go up there. I don't know if you ever had the opportunity or not, but to testify, the people are all sitting in these big chairs, and you're sitting at this table with a microphone that you got to remember to push the buttons and all those kind of things. And it's very intimidating. I said, what a great opportunity it would be at some point in time in my life to be able to sit up there and make those people feel more welcome. And that was the end of it. Ed Goodhart, someone Goodhart who has endorsed me, thank goodness. We're grateful for that. Has said, at some point in time, do you ever want to do this? I said, at some point in time, maybe. I've got, my family and grandkids and all those things going on. And when he decided to run for Senate, and then later, as you know, decided not to do that, asked me if I was interested in that. And that started the ball rolling. And after I got the support and the approval from, first off from my wife and my family, we sat down as a family and discussed it. And then with my employer, it worked out very well, and they were very supportive as well. And here we are today. It's been a great campaign so far. We've enjoyed it very much. We were fortunate enough to win the primary, and now we're moving on to the general election.
Well, it seems as if you're doing very well with the campaign, and a lot of things you mentioned. You have this big background, medical background, and some of the issues that you're looking at working with are healthcare,
right,
the economy, taxes, education, and with that said, what direction would you like to see for the state of Nevada, and in particular Nye County?
Well, I think Nye County specifically, we've got to make sure we protect the resources that we have so far with healthcare. Obviously, I think that we've had some good changes in physician communities, and some things happen here that I think are going to be positive. We're bringing more specialists to these communities. But rural Nevada as a whole needs to make sure we're able to ensure that those services stay, and that there's proper reimbursement for those kind of services, and that the money's allocated where it needs to be. That doesn't mean we're going to raise taxes. That means, because I'm not for raising taxes, this economy's starting to come back. I'm not even going to use the word rebound, but starting to come back a little bit. And I think we're in a position where we can actually make a difference, start making a difference, and see some changes. And the people of Nye County and all of Assembly District 36 deserve to have quality health care. And I think we're all working together to try and accommodate that and accomplish that.
And it's so hard for so many people out there who don't have the health care that they need. It's very expensive, things like that. And I know that you're looking at working towards that, but with that said, incorporation may do something to affect services too. What is your view of incorporation?
I believe firmly that incorporation is a vote of the people. There should not be any legislation that comes before myself or any of the other legislators that's not approved first by the people in this community. It's a vote of the community. Those people deserve to have their say because they live here and will be impacted by incorporation, however, whatever that does. So I think that they're entitled to that vote, and it should be put to a vote of the people, then brought to the legislature for the legislative process to take place.
Okay. And so in particular now then, if we're talking about Nye County and Pahrump in particular, with regards to economic development, that's a big issue out here.
It is.
They're trying to bring tourism in or create jobs. They're just doing anything to help the economy out here. Do you have a plan for that in particular for Nye County?
Well, I'm going to be a freshman legislator, and I've looked and examined the things we've done in the past, and some of them are tried and true, some of them have not worked so well. One of the first things that I would like to do and get together with my fellow legislators on both sides of the aisle is make sure that we are looking to keep businesses within Nevada. If there's business that can be done in Nevada, we need to do it in Nevada. If there's things that can be done, let's take banking, let's take printing, you can take a whole gamut of services. Let's do it within the state of Nevada. Let's support ourselves and make sure that we become as self-sufficient as we can. It's important that we're not outsourcing a lot of things to different places. We need to make sure that we're in a position of strength, not in weakness, where we have to depend on other areas and other places to serve us. In addition to that, I think it's going to be very important this next legislative session, and I know they did a really good job of it last session, but this session, to make sure money's allocated where it needs to be, Rhonda. I think it's important that if an organization has money and there's extra money left over, what are we doing with that money? Don't just spend it just to spend it. Let's reallocate it somewhere that they really need it, that they ran out early or didn't have those kind of resources available to them. I think it's really important that we look within ourselves. The other thing I'd like to see us do is let's collect the money that's owed us. Let's collect the money that the state has out currently that's owed to them before we start talking about any kind of new taxes or fees. Let's face it, we can talk about fees all day long. If it's a fee, it gets passed through to somebody else. I was talking to a friend who's in the car business the other day, and if they get an additional fee, that just gets passed on to you in some form or another. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it works. So fees or taxes, as far as I'm concerned, raising fees, raising any of these kind of things, that's all a tax that gets passed on to us, the consumer. And businesses then have to pay them as well up front. So it becomes a real issue, and it's a vicious circle that we need to stay out of.
Do you think it's difficult for businesses to stay in business in our state right now with all the taxes and everything that we face?
I think absolutely, and I firmly believe that the governor and the people are looking at those kinds of things to see what we can do to give some relief to that. Again, and my philosophy is we can't take any more taxes or fees. It's just not going to happen. It's not feasible. It's not reality. It's in order for us to continue to succeed and continue to be move in the positive direction we're starting to move. We can't continue to tax. And it's a process where you have to examine where we're spending money, what we're doing with it, and where it can best be allocated.
Well, with that said, we have about a minute left. Is there anything that you wanted to tell Pahrump that we have not been able to cover in the last 9 minutes?
No, I just really appreciate the support that Pahrump gave me. Pahrump and Nye County put me ahead in these primaries and made it so I'm sitting here today visiting with you. I hope I can count on your continued support. We're working in the little bit of Clark County that we have, and then we'll work in Lincoln County to get their support. And I think we'll be in great shape. And it's venues like this that help us get that message out, and I appreciate it very much.
Well, we really appreciate you. We're very proud of you. You are an icon in our community in so many different ways. You're always out there helping people. And so it's great to have you here today.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you so much, James.
Appreciate it very much.
We'll be back after this.